My twin brother was always my shadow until he stole my life. I am 32 years old, and I have always believed that my life was predetermined. I have a twin brother named Daniel, and from birth, we were inseparable, yet there was always an unspoken, and sometimes very obvious, competition. I was older by about 5 minutes, and perhaps that gave me an unconscious sense of superiority that Daniel always seemed to challenge. From early childhood, he was always a little behind me, whether in academics, where I easily grasped material, and he had to work hard to achieve the same results, in sports, where I was a natural team leader, and he was a diligent but not outstanding player, and, of course, in relationships where I always attracted attention and he remained in the shadows. I was the one who got the best grades, won competitions, dated the most beautiful and popular girls. Daniel, on the other hand, always settled for second place, and this, as I now bitterly realize, bred in him a deep, hidden resentment that accumulated over the years. Our parents, trying to be fair and not favor one over the other, often, unknowingly, exacerbated the situation. They bought us identical gifts, dressed us in identical clothes, but constantly compared our achievements, our successes, our characters. Why can't you be as responsible as Adam? Or, look how easily Adam handles math, and you? These phrases, uttered with the best intentions, became a constant backdrop for Daniel. I didn't understand then how much it hurt him, how deeply these words cut into his consciousness. I simply enjoyed my success, not thinking about the consequences, about how my victory meant another defeat for him. I was too young and self centered to realize the full weight of his situation. Everything changed when we entered university. We chose different majors, so that, as we thought, we could finally find our individuality. I studied architecture, dreaming of creating something great and lasting. Daniel, on the other hand, chose literature, immersing himself in the world of words and stories. We lived in the same dorm room, but our worlds increasingly diverged. I was absorbed in my studies, projects, new acquaintances, while Daniel seemed to withdraw more and more into himself. He became withdrawn, avoided communication, preferring to spend time alone, reading or writing something in his notebook. I often noticed him looking at my successes, my new projects, my popularity among fellow students with envy, and sometimes with undisguised malice. I tried to talk to him, asked what was bothering him, offered help, but he always brushed me off, saying that everything was fine, that he was just tired or busy. After graduating from university, my career took off rapidly. I got a prestigious job at a large architectural firm, where I was immediately entrusted with serious projects. I worked day and night, but it brought me immense satisfaction. Daniel, on the other hand, struggled to find his footing. He scraped by with odd jobs, wrote some stories and poems that no one published. He lived in a small rented apartment, constantly complaining about a lack of money and no prospects. I offered him help, tried to find him a job through my acquaintances, but he always refused, saying that he didn't want to be a burden, that he would manage on his own. I believed him, but his eyes betrayed everything: envy, despair, hidden malice. One day, about a year ago, my life found new meaning. I met Sarah. She was wonderful in every way: smart, kind, with a great sense of humor and an infectious laugh. She worked as an interior designer, and we had so many common interests that we could talk for hours about everything. We fell in love at first sight, and I was over the moon with happiness. I told Daniel about her, and he seemed genuinely happy for me. We often spent time together as a trio, going to the movies, walking in the park, having dinner at restaurants. I even noticed that Daniel became more open and cheerful in her presence. He joked, laughed, and I thought that finally everything was getting better, that he had found his place in life, and our brotherly bond had become stronger than ever. Sarah and I decided to get married. I was so excited that the first thing I did was tell Daniel. He hugged me, congratulated me, and said he was very happy for us. He even offered to help with the wedding arrangements, and I gladly agreed. I entrusted him with everything, choosing the venue, sending out invitations, even buying the wedding rings. I was sure he would do everything perfectly, as he had always been so attentive to detail. I gave him access to my bank accounts so he could pay for all the wedding expenses. I trusted him implicitly, as I would myself. How could I have been so blind? A week before the wedding, my world collapsed. I discovered that my bank account was empty. All my savings, which I had accumulated for our future life with Sarah, for our honeymoon, for buying a house, had disappeared. I was in shock. I immediately called the bank, but they told me that the money had been withdrawn according to all the rules, using my data, my signature, my PIN code. I couldn't believe it. The only person who had access to my data was Daniel. I called him, but his phone was turned off. I went to his house, but he wasn't there. Neighbors said he had moved out a few days ago, taking all his belongings. They saw him loading them into a car, but didn't think anything of it. I was desperate. I called Sarah to tell her what had happened, but she didn't answer. I went to her house, but she wasn't there either. Her parents, with whom I had always had a good relationship, met me with bewilderment. They said that Sarah had left with Daniel a few days ago, saying they were going on their honeymoon. My world completely collapsed. My own brother, my shadow, stole my life. He stole my money, my fiancée, my future. He stole everything that was dear to me. I don't know how he did it, how he convinced Sarah, but he did it. He destroyed everything I had built over the years. I filed a police report, but they said it was a complicated case, as Daniel had used my data, and it looked as if I had given him permission to withdraw the money myself. They started an investigation, but warned that it could take a long time. I feel devastated, betrayed, crushed. I have lost everything I had. I cannot understand why he did this. Why does my own brother hate me so much? What did I do to deserve such betrayal? I sit in my empty apartment, looking at a photo of Sarah and me laughing, embracing, and I can't believe this is happening to me. I don't know how to live anymore. My heart is broken. My soul is empty. I feel as if I have been gutted, leaving only an empty shell. I don't know if I will ever recover from this blow. Update 1. Several weeks have passed since Daniel disappeared with Sarah and my money. Each day drags on like an eternity, filled with agonizing memories and unanswered questions. The police have not yet yielded any results. They say it may take time, as Daniel, apparently, prepared well for his escape. He left no traces, as if he vanished into thin air. I feel absolutely broken, devastated, as if all my life energy has been drained from me. Every day I wake up with a sense of emptiness, with a heaviness in my chest that prevents me from breathing fully. My friends and parents try to support me. They call, visit, try to distract me, but I feel as if I'm in a nightmare from which I cannot escape. Words of comfort seem empty, and attempts to cheer me up are meaningless. I tried to contact Sarah, but her phone is off. Her parents also don't know where she is. They are as shocked as I am and cannot believe that their daughter could have done such a thing. They said that Sarah had always been very responsible, sensible, and would never have done anything like this. I don't know what to think. Maybe Daniel deceived her, manipulated her, using her feelings for me? Or was she in on it with him? And it was all a carefully planned scam. I cannot believe that the person I love could have done this to me, destroying all our dreams and plans. I started seeing a psychologist. I need someone to talk to because I feel like I'm going crazy. My thoughts constantly return to Daniel, to Sarah, to what happened. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't concentrate on work. The psychologist says I need to accept what happened and start moving on. He talks about forgiveness, about letting go of resentment, so as not to destroy myself from within. But how can I move on when my whole life is destroyed? How can I forgive someone who took everything from me? I lost not only money and a fiancé, but also trust in people, faith in good, in justice. I don't know if I will ever be able to trust anyone again, if I will ever be able to love again. I often think about Daniel. Why did he do it? What did I do wrong? I always tried to be a good brother. I helped him, supported him, shared everything I had with him. But perhaps I was too blind to his envy, to his hidden hatred. Perhaps he always wanted to be me, not himself. Perhaps he always dreamed of my life, my successes, my love. And now he is what he wanted. But at what cost? At the cost of a ruined life, at the cost of betrayal, at the cost of a lost brotherly bond. I don't know what awaits me in the future, but I know one thing. I will never forgive Daniel for what he did. This pain, this disappointment, this betrayal will stay with me forever. I feel empty, as if burned to ashes, and I don't know how to rekindle the spark of life within me. Update 2. 3 months have passed. 3 long, agonizing months. The police are still investigating, but there has been no significant progress. Daniel and Sarah have seemingly vanished. No traces, no leads. My parents, seeing my condition, insisted that I move in with them. I agreed because I couldn't stay in my apartment anymore, where every object reminded me of Sarah, of our plans, of our ruined happiness. I quit my job. I couldn't concentrate, constantly making mistakes. My boss, understanding the situation, was sympathetic, but I knew I couldn't continue in such a state. The psychologist continues to work with me. He helps me cope with panic attacks, insomnia, and a constant feeling of anxiety. He says I need to find new meaning in life, new goals. But so far, I see nothing but darkness. I try to read, watch movies, exercise, but nothing brings me joy. Everything seems meaningless, empty. Recently, I received a letter from a lawyer. It was a notification that Daniel and Sarah had filed for divorce. It turned out that they got married immediately after they ran away. I don't know why they did this. Perhaps to legalize their relationship? Or so Daniel could gain access to her money? I don't know. But this news only intensified my pain. I feel even more betrayed. They didn't just run away. They created their own family, built their happiness on the ruins of mine. It's unbearable. I started reevaluating my relationship with Daniel. I always considered him my best friend, my support. But now I understand that he was always my shadow, waiting for his moment to consume me. He envied me, hated me, and for all these years, he hid his true feelings. This is the most terrifying thing. The realization that the person you trusted most in the world turned out to be your worst enemy. I don't know if I will ever recover from this. I feel as if I have been betrayed twice, once by Daniel and another time by Sarah. And this double betrayal has destroyed me from within. I don't know how to pick up the pieces. I just exist, day by day, hoping that someday this pain will subside. But for now, it only intensifies. Well, what are your impressions of this story? Write your opinion in the comments.